Dear friends, I hope you all are well and keeping safe. My name is Shantanu and welcome to my podcast, The Halftime Whistle. I also have a blog with the same name, thehalftimewhistle.com. And the intent of creating this channel is to share our travel experiences. We're a family of four and we love to travel. So when you go to these channels, you'll find travel stories, things you've learned the hard way, and our different experiences so that when you plan for your dream vacation, you can take a leaf from here and plan better. Today, I'm going to talk about Italy. In the month of December 2023, we as a family went there for over 14 days. This video, I'll talk about everything, all the experiences through the 14 days, day wise. But if you're interested in a particular attraction or a particular day, I'm going to create those videos as well so that if you want to go deep, you can visit one of the attraction or the day to learn more about it. So, Italy, I believe, is an amazing place. I think there is something for everyone. If you're interested in Renaissance art, or for example, Gothic structure, or coastal places, or beaches, or mountains, you have everything there. You can be there for just loving the nature or appreciating the Roman ruins, or the buildings, or the art of the medieval town. There is so much to learn and see and experience in Italy. When we went to Italy, we wanted to create an itinerary where we can have a glimpse of all. So, what we did was we divided our 14 days into three different segments. Our first segment was Rome, which is where we landed. 3 days of exploring Rome, which I'm going to talk about a little later. Then, about 6 days in Tuscany, which is where you have all the medieval towns. We visited different towns there and also went to another place known as Cinque Terre. So, all those activities and visits we have done in that area for about 6 days. And the final 3 days, we actually stayed in Amalfi Coast, which is the southern part of Italy, where you have uh, villages and town nestled in mountain location, where we are very close to the sea as well, and can have a beautiful sight to the Amalfi Coast. So that's how we divided it. We wanted to see all the medieval towns which happened in Tuscany. We wanted to see all the Roman structures and ruins and museums, which was, by the way, there in Tuscany as well, but mostly in Rome. And then we went to Amalfi Coast, enjoying the nature and being the fold of mountains and the sea. We started our journey on 16th of December. It was a red-eye flight from Newark, New Jersey. This is where our home is, and we went to Rome. From here, it's a direct flight, about 8 hours, and we landed in the morning time in Rome. We had the whole day to ourselves. So what we did was we thought we'll use at least half a day to see few attraction in Rome. A few things before I go on. First, when you want to choose a hotel when you're staying in Rome, try to be near to the historical site. There are many boutique hotels you can find in sites such as Airbnb or VRBO or Expedia. I would highly recommend that you stay within the city. Don't look for the big brand names. There are small boutique hotels which are very good and you'll be in the heart of the city. Second, Rome, though you can drive around, there are certain zones known as ZTL, which are areas where you cannot drive in certain times. So, just to avoid all those nuances, it is better to use the public commute, which is what we did. We didn't rent a car when we were in Rome, and we enjoyed visiting Rome, staying in the heritage city in the heart of that, and using the public transport. So now coming back, we actually stayed in a hotel known as Antica, which is at the heart of the historical site or historical city of Rome. So we took a cab, we came to our hotel, we put our luggage, and we took a quick shower and we were ready for the day. Our first stop was around 2 o'clock in a place known as Catacombs. Catacombs is about 4 kilometers from where we stayed. It's near the vicinity of all of the Roman ruins and the places that you can think of, like Colosseum and all. So if you see from Colosseum, it's about 4 kilometers from there. We took a cab to reach there. You can also take a bus, a public transport to reach there as well. Catacombs is an amazing place. It is underground tomb or burial which was used back in the day, second century to fourth century, to bury at the official burial site to bury all of the Romans, be it the poor or the rich. So you'll find burial place for the 16th Pope there. You can find burial for the rich and the poor and everyone there. Amazing experience. Is a guided tour. There's a ticket to it. You go underground. All of the tombs are underground. It's a intricate meandering path of about 21 kilometers or 12 miles. Obviously, you will take the guide tour will take you to certain places. but it'll be amazed to see how the structure was made and how the entire detailing was done. That's what we did, our first stop on day one. And from Catacombs, we actually went to see two churches. The first one we stopped by was Saint Clement Basilica. It is a cathedral, and the amazing part of this area is that back in the day they found that it was built on top of a pagan temple, Mitherium temple. So actually excavations were done. So actually you can literally walk down and take a self-guided tour to see Mitherium temples. You can also see Roman quarters and Roman houses, which they have excavated, and it is buried under that particular basilica. So, in other words, this entire church is built on top of a pagan temple, and you can see everything from a first century temple to a fifth century church to a 16th century frescoes and artistry design. It's an amazing place, and I would highly recommend you if you're in the area to go and visit it. And the second church we visited after this one was Basilica of Saint Pietro in Vinocoli. Again, we just went there. It was a Roman Catholic church, but we were lucky enough to find a local guide who was part of an NGO and provided a free tour of the entire church. And we learned that there are two things which is very particular about this church. First, it's a tomb of Pope Julius II, and second, the Michelangelo statue of the Moses is situated here, which is very famous. I'm going to talk about it in my day one video in more detail, but you should definitely go and see if you want to see medieval paintings, exquisite artistries and frescoes, plus the concept of what they call as the Valley of Chain. It is a place to go. How the chains fuse and the entire story behind it, which I'll talk later, is all in this church. So those are the three things we visited: the catacombs, two churches, and we called it a day. And that was our end of day one in Rome. Day two was a very busy day. Day two we kept for Vatican City. As you know, it's a landlocked city or a country within Rome, and that's where you have one of the world's largest cathedral, Saint Peter Basilica. We went there. We actually first went to the Duomo, and we climbed up. You can actually climb up to the top. So we took those 400 odd steps. We went to the top. We saw the entire Vatican City and Rome from the top. It's a beautiful sight. Then we climbed back down, and we came to the church, the Saint Peter Basilica Church, and we were mesmerized by seeing the different sculptures, different paintings, the nave, the ceilings, how it was painted and rendered, the chapels. It was a beautiful sight. After doing the tour of that, then we went to the Vatican Museum, and that's a huge collection of sculptures, Renaissance art. You will also find Egyptian artifacts and all of these different aspects of life in the 15th century and 16th century, and the collection from back in the days all here. It will take a good amount of time. In fact, it took us the whole day to see this. Here are two quick things that I want to tell you. One, when you go to these places, especially museums and the church, you'll be lost. There are so many artifacts, so many sculptures. If you truly want to enjoy it, there are two ways. As I said, one, you can take a guided tour, but they are very expensive. So typically a ticket will cost you about 12 euros. But if you take a guided tour for one person, it could be coming around 100, 120 euros. And again, if you want to take a tour, don't take it right there. You should go to an authentic site, take a good guide so they can get a good visit of the place. The other way is that you can watch videos like this. I'm also going to create a video on Vatican Museum and the St. Peter Basilica to tell you what exactly to see, so that you can plan your day and you can watch those videos and take notes and see all those things that we have seen, and at least we have appreciated. So that's day two for us. That pretty much took the entire day to see the entire museum and the Duomo, climbing up, and the St. Peter Basilica, and we called it a day. That brought us to day three, or the last day of our stay in Rome, and we wanted to end our visit in Rome through the Colosseum. Colosseum is by far the tallest and the most largest amphitheater ever built, and still standing, at least part of it. And although part of that is in ruin, but it's amazing to see that. I would highly encourage to take a ticket where you can get access to all the three floors, which is the hypogeum, the lower ground where all the gladiators to walk up, and before they could take man-made elevators to the stage. That's where they walked out from all the props that the people, the planners used to do, were all there in hypogeum. So I will highly encourage you to go there. Although in ruins, you can see a lot of those aspects in greater details, and then you can go to the main stage, and then you can climb up on the top of the Colosseum and see how the entire structure comes and live together and provide you a vivid experience of how earlier days Roman would have felt sitting in those amphitheaters and watching different shows and different aspects of fun in those old times. Then right after the Colosseum, we walked out and then we enjoyed seeing the ruins around the Colosseum. There are three arches, the three gates that they have made. Two are large, one is a smaller one on different directions. You can see those. There are Roman ruins with the temples. You have temples for Venus and different others that you can see. You can also see the Roman Forum, the common town square, the earlier days where people used to come and have an evening chat or a conversation. And then further down on the northeast side, you can see the Palatine Hill, which is where you'll find the palace of the first Roman Empire and how it was built over a period of time. Although in ruins, you can experience that in one of its experience, and you can see a lot of aspects of that within that area. One more quick tidbit, you can also see Julius Caesar's final resting place. Although, as you know, back in those days, the emperors, were burned; they were not buried. So this place has the ashes of Julius Caesar, so you can at least go and see that and pay your homage if you want to. That was a day three, and that kind of brought our end to Rome. They say if you want to enjoy all the churches, all the museums, and everything that Rome has to offer, you need 7 days. But we need to experience different part of Italy as well. So we wanted to stay only 3 days. Rome, by the way, as you walk around, it's a living museum. You will see ruins, you have palaces, Gothic buildings, Renaissance art all around the town, across all these spaces. So please do that in the evening. Walk around the town and enjoy Rome from that perspective as well. It was time around 4 o'clock on day three, and we thought we'll drive now to our next destination, Toscana. We stayed in a place in a Palaya, and I'll talk about it, in how you can plan your stay in Tuscany in my Tuscany video. But just to give you a quick glimpse of it, you can do few things in Tuscany. As you know, in Tuscany, we'll go from town to town. Some of the people try to stay in each town as they move along. It's a great experience. Experiencing a medieval town in the night is a different ball game altogether. You must do that. We did that in a couple of places. We stayed over, not overnight, but long in the night itself to enjoy the place. But for us, we wanted to put in one location, a central location from where we can travel around. So Palaya was the location we have chosen. So we drove to Palaya and then came day four. Day four, we first went to a medieval town on a Pisa. Miracle of Square, you have everything in that. You have the Leaning Tower of Pisa, the baptistry, the cemetery, which is phenomenal. You should go and see that, and the museum. We experienced that. After that, we took a walk around the Arno River. We saw a few more churches around. We had dinner there. Beautiful place. Had a great experience, and that kind of called our day four end in the Tuscany Valley. We enjoyed a medieval town. Day five, we saw two medieval towns. Our first stop was in a medieval town known as Gimignano. I know the pronunciation is a little tongue twister. So San Gimignano is a place which is very famous for its tall towers. Apparently, these towers are built for showing wealth, for security, and for other purposes as well. There were 70 towers, only 13 surviving, only one you can climb. We did climb to that one tower. We enjoyed the town. We also saw the cathedrals and the other experiences that the town offered. And then we moved to the next city, which is Volterra. Volterra is a city which we experienced in the night. It was beautiful cobble street, walking around. Since it was December and near Christmas time, we didn't have much traffic. So it was very open and you don't have a lot of people walking around. So it was a very great experience. Highlight of Volterra was we saw one of the Roman amphitheater ruin, which is I will highly recommend to see, which is back from first century, as they say. That was end of day five. Then we came to day six. Day six, we went to Another medieval town, Siena. It's a large town. The highlight of this is too, besides the cathedral and other places, is the shell-shaped piazza. Piazza is the town square where people come, chat, and you have everything, the bell tower to your cathedral to everything that you can imagine. The public offices where they were having government affairs and everything else. So the shaped piazza is a must attraction. There's a bell tower. We climbed there. We saw the cathedral. Went to a few museums. The other very interesting thing with Siena is we saw back in the Roman time, what they had was the Fonte Grande, which is the water source. Siena doesn't have any river, so this is the only water source which is created, artificially created, which has places for animals, for bathing, for washing, and for everything else. There are only two spots available now. The other things are closed, but it's a must see from the overall standpoint. So we spent our day in Siena, that kind of called our day six end, and then went to day seven, which is to visit another bustling and a beautiful city of Tuscany known as Florence. Florence Church is a must see. It's a gigantic structure, one of the largest church back in the day, and still it surfaces in the top 10 churches in the world. There are bell towers, there are baptistry, there are museums, there's a lot to do. There is also a bridge which you should definitely visit. That bridge was actually saved from World War II bombing. That's the only bridge which got saved during World War II bombing, and I will highly recommend you to see that. Uh, the beauty of that bridge, as you walk on that bridge, you'll not feel that you're on a bridge because it is covered by shops, mostly jewelry shops, and it is an experience, and you have to go there to see it. You can walk on that bridge, and then you can experience all the jewelry shops and all of the display of that, and then you can see how that structure is, kind of stayed all together, and the history behind why it was not bombed. There are many stories around it. I'll talk about it a little later, but that's definitely a must see from a Florence visit standpoint. Florence is also a place where you can do shopping. We did that as well. You have all the major brands, the local brands, bustling street, lot of people, lot of noise, cacophony. You can find your own rhythm in that cacophony as well, and we enjoyed Florence to the highest extent. That was the end of day seven. Day eight, we wanted to take a break from seeing medieval towns, so we went back to nature. It was 24th of December, little quiet, as you know, the Christmas was coming up, so we went to Cinque Terre. Cinque Terre is in Italian language known as a collection of five villages, and that's what the place is all about. Nestled in the mountains next to the Mediterranean Sea, there are five villages which are nestled in one after another, and those villages have very less population. They range from 300 people to 2,000 people only. And what we did was, our intent was to at least do one trek from one village to another on the mountain next to the sea. So we took our car. It's about an hour and a 15 drive from Pelaya, and we went to a station at La Spezia, where we parked our car. We took the train to the northernmost town known as Monte Rosso. That's where we went, and we enjoyed the town, and we started our hike. And from there, we hiked to the next town, which is the Vernazza. That's the town we hiked to. Took about 2 hours, going through the mountain, seeing all the olive garden on the orange groves, and we enjoyed the views from there. And then we come to Vernazza, and that's where we had a lunch, and then we took train to go to the other places, other towns accordingly. While we were in the track, somebody recommended us to check out a port town known as Porto Venere. So once we reached back La Spezia, we took our car and we went around the nestled mountain and the serpentine path to reach Porto Venere. Enjoyed the town. We spent our evening there walking on the cobble street, eating food and enjoying the local delicacies. That kind of closed our day eight, and that brought us to day nine, which is our last day of Tuscany, in Tuscany, and we thought of visiting Lucca. It was 25th of December. Everything was closed, but Lucca has one specific experience you must see, which is the city walls. The walls were created back in the day for protection from enemies and all. And this is the only town, only medieval town where the walls are still intact. So we walked around the wall, which is about a 4 kilometer, 2.5 mile walk. We went down to the town, enjoyed the piazzas, saw the church, And fortunately for us, couple of restaurants were open. We ate food and we call it a day. And that was kind of end of our Tuscany region visit. And day 10 was all about travel. We have to drive about 670 kilometers from Tuscany to the southern part of Italy to Amalfi Coast. We went to a town in Positano. Again, we there you have narrow roads and all mountainous road. So what we decided is that we'll park our car and use local transport, which is absolutely great. It worked out in most of the cases. Your buses, flying from where we stayed to the towns we wanted to go. So we actually were staying in Positano. We parked our car there, and next day, which is day 11, we thought of visiting the Amalfi Coast. There are four towns we wanted to see. One was the Amalfi town itself, which is the largest uh, town. There are about 13 towns in that area. The largest of the 13 town. We saw about four towns here. We saw Amalfi. From Amalfi, we took a walk to Atrani, which is very close by, about half a mile walk, but mountainous walk. And then we actually saw Positano, which is where we stayed. But from Amalfi, we also took a cab to Ravello. That's one place where buses doesn't go, or rather at that season the buses were not going because I believe there's some construction were going on. Ravello is a must-see town. It has two palaces on the top of the hill, and it's amazing to see. Again, I'll talk about that in my videos later. But that's what we did. Our day 11, exploring Amalfi Coast, seeing the coastal town, the cathedrals, the museums, and the palaces in that area. Day 12, we are still in Amalfi Coast, but we want to experience what we call it as a hike. And I'll tell you, I'll kid you not, this was by far one of my best hikes I ever done. It was a hike from Amalfi, not from Amalfi actually, from a town known as Bomramo to Positano. It will take about almost half a day to about 6 to 7 hours, because it'll be taking a lot of pictures as well. Hike is moderately difficult, but uh, if you have a fear of height, I will highly not recommend it because you're climbing up the mountain and you have the sea next to you and the mountain on the other side. We did that entire hike. It was one of the beautiful hike we have done. So what we did was we took a bus from Positano to Amalfi, and from Amalfi we took another bus to Bomeramo, from where the trekking path starts, and we hike all the way to Positano, which is where our home was. And we went there. It was a great hike. Loved it, enjoyed it, and that's what we did on day 12. The hike name is known as Path of the Gods, and I'll talk about it more in my day 12 video. That brought us to the last day, day 13, before we started our travel back on day 14, which is Pompeii. Pompeii is a must see. It is the largest Roman ruins you can see. You have palaces, you have piazzas, you have mystery towns, you have gardens, you have everything. When you go inside, it is all guarded and fenced. Fortunately, it was saved over a period of time, excavated. They're still excavating it, but huge amount of space. And as we walked around, we figured that one day may not be enough, but we had only one day left, so we did the most we could. Typically, people take ticket for 3 days and walk around, and I would highly recommend, if you have time to do that. It's an amazing experience to walk around the corridors and the alleys, which was back in the day, fourth century, third century, when the Romans used to walk there, and how they used to live in their quarters and the houses. Well, that was our 14 days tour to Italy. Last day, we took our flight back to New Jersey. Totally loved it, and hopefully this video will give you a glimpse of what we did from a planning standpoint. And as I said, look at my day-wise video to get more details so that you can craft your Italy itinerary accordingly. Again, thank you for listening and hope you like what you heard. Take care now. Bye.